wanted to run, we wanted to fall together. Back then our world seemed so clear, we grew so bright, shimmering lights around us. We'd take flight into the sky. How many worlds would you cross to use the light that's right in front of you? There is no light on the other side. I say, look straight ahead and you will see. You will see. How many worlds would you cross to use the light that's right in front of you? There is no light on the other side. I say, look straight ahead and you will see.
Hello, welcome to the Trans Nation Challenge pre-race broadcast here for the Monaco Grand Prix. I'm Brett Keenan, bringing you more of an announcement more than an actual broadcast itself. So we had already done the pre-race broadcast for the Monaco Grand Prix to preview Spain, look ahead of things into season 2018. Unfortunately, the audio system that I was using malfunctioned a little bit, so it didn't pick up any of the other drivers speaking or the other commentators. So today's broadcast is just going to be the videos of Guy's moment of seriousness, the Xeri's pit lane report, Jay's one lap dash, and then Stuart McKenzie's preferred racing line. So don't forget to like and subscribe to the Trans Nation channel, like us on Facebook, all that kind of stuff. No Trans Nation Superstars this week for the same reason. Hopefully we'll be all back rearing to go for Canada for the 100% race around the Circuit des Villeneuve. So, so that's me signing out from here. So, we apologise for the shorter production today, but certainly we'll make up for it in Canada. Thank you. Oh, just got hit. Yep. Yep. And just took more of my wing off in the process, so that's alright. Okay, so yeah, I've been hitting the rear, boys, hitting the rear. I think it was Axel. I don't think it was his fault. I think there might have been a lag spike there, but yep, we'll just press on.
Blue flags on lap 4. Out of the way. Come on now. Oh wow, I'm surprised he didn't park it on the apex of that corner also. He actually made it through the last corner. Good job.
Hi guys, and welcome to the second installment of Guy's Moment of Seriousness. I am of course Guy Tasker, and I'd like to say welcome to my interviewee for today, who is Mackenzie Stewart, or better known to many of you as Stuart Mackenzie 2, I believe. So welcome, and are you looking forward to today's interview?
Howdy everybody, how's it going? No, but we're trying to be serious here. No, definitely looking forward to it. Yeah, no, I've been anticipating this. No, Monaco's only just around the corner, and yeah, no, just had the Spanish Grand Prix. Yeah, so I'm looking forward to it. Let's go.
Yeah, so we'll start off a little bit about yourself outside of the world of TNC. So tell me a bit about what your interests are, or what your hobbies are in the outside world.
Oh gosh, there isn't really much to say about me, to be honest. All I really do is eat shit and play PlayStation all day. No. More on a serious note. Like I absolutely love my sports, like the football, basketball, cricket. Like just name any sport apart from netball. I enjoy playing it. I enjoy watching it. And then the motorsport, like especially the motorsports as well. The motorsports is what I grew up on, watching the F1, the V8 supercars, the touring cars in New Zealand, and funny enough, growing up watching the NZ Super Trucks, where actually my mate Alex just won the national truck title in New Zealand as well, the youngest truck racing champ in New Zealand. So I'll just a quick shout out to him. Congratulations, mate. But
definitely.
Yeah, so that's there's not much else to me, to be honest.
So with motorsport, I'm guessing included in that, I'm guessing you've been an F1 fan for a while. Who would you say, growing up and throughout your whole time watching motorsports F1, who would you say your idol is? Your favourite driver, or even your favourite team? Who would you support week in, week out?
No, I think there's really only one driver you can really mention at the moment. Like being a millennial and growing up watching the F1, there's really only one name that stands out. It's Schumacher.
Yeah, of course.
Like you can't really put a foot wrong with him. He was, in my opinion, he's the greatest F1 driver that's ever driven in the sport. And like just growing up watching him dominate the way that he did in the Ferrari. And then going back over the last couple of years, just watching is like the early '90s when he was just starting. It just like his driving style just reminds me so much of my own at my self-driving style at the moment. In the F1 game is just balls up and go for the move in, and if you fuck it up, well, you fuck it up. On to the next race.
Yeah, well, that's understandable. It's certainly one of my favourites as well to watch. I mean, every week you knew you were going to see something special that felt from Michael and the Ferrari.
Yeah, no, definitely, yeah.
So, talking more about tracks rather than drivers, what would you say is your favourite track in real life to watch, and also what is your favourite track to drive around?
Favourite track? I'd probably have to say the start of the season, the first few races of the season, so like the Australias, the Chinas, the Bahrains, like the first few races of the seasons where it's all unknown. Like going into the first few rounds of the season, you don't know how the cars are going to perform. You don't know how the cars are ranked in terms of like the pecking order. So like, it's very interesting to see like how the cars perform and where they're based, and having that unknown is just really interests me. Like to see like how the cars perform in the first few rounds of the season, where like anything can happen, especially with the reliability of the new cars. And yeah, it's just stunning to watch, like how the first few races of the season where you don't know where the pecking order is, and you see drivers higher up in the field, like you've seen in Australia. You see the Haas cars running 4th and 5th until they fuck up in the pit stop. So like no one expected that going into the season, like, and they always said they were going to be a dark horse for the season, and now look at them, they're like right up there at the top of the midfield after only being in F1 for 2 seasons or so.
Yeah, no, it was certainly pretty tragic to see, even not as a Haas fan, to see them retire the other week was pretty sad. But
it was pretty upsetting.
Those first few weeks
are
always exciting because of the unknown that you're going into, really, isn't it?
It's quite tough to see. To see that sort of stuff happen, but you live and you learn, and just make better wheel nuts next time.
Good point. That's a good point, and it seemed to work at least. So moving on to the TNC, we'll talk a bit about last season, the beta test that you obviously finished. Well, top 3 finish for yourself. You were in it till the last race of the season. Do you see that as a success? Are you happy with how that went for you? Obviously, it was a pretty strong season. Or do you feel a bit hard done by? Because I know you were close. You were very close to winning it, and you haven't had the championship lead at points. So yeah, how do you feel about that?
Well, especially going to that last round of the season, knowing that, going to the last round of the beta test there, like I knew I had a chance of winning it. It was just to see it slip away was just real heartbreaking. Like I'm happy with the P3, but there was just points of the season where like I knew I should have done better, and I knew I should have pushed for a better result. Where and then there was also that point of the season where I knew Brett shouldn't have fucked up the way he did and had those stupid, ridiculous fucking bonus points at the end of this for the beta test. Because if he hadn't done that, I would have easily won that. I could have definitely won that championship, because like he even sent me a photo of the championships standings without the bonus points, and I had like a 6-point lead going into Singapore for the final round. So with the bonus with the bonuses added, there was like a 12-point lead in his favour.
Oh, that's a. I can feel your frustration there. I think. It's understandable.
It's the kind of balancing it out. Like, I don't know, surely there's some sort of conspiracy going on for him to unbalance it the way that it did, somehow gain 18 points in the, like, it's all fucked up. He shouldn't have done it, but moving on to season 2018, he ain't ready for the shit that's coming his way. I can tell him that now.
Well, obviously, I'm sure Brett will defend himself at some point in the future, but understandable frustrations from yourself there being so close. And obviously, well, you talk about Brett here. Do I sense that perhaps, as you say, with this move to 2018 and the two categories, obviously yourself will be in the F1 category, racing alongside Brett and many others, of course. So, are you going to see that as a chance for revenge? Is that your primary target as such for that season, to come out and get him?
I'm not focusing on season 2018. No, the current focus is retaining that number one for GP2, and then once that's all wrapped up and dealt with, that he ain't ready for the shitstorm that's coming his way. I can say that now.
Fighting talk, we like it.
The motivation that I've got at the moment to get him back for that shitstorm that he had in the beta test, like, it's just, I'm too fired up to be held back, and he better hope he gets used to the 2018 game quick, because if he doesn't, well, fuck, he better watch out.
Well, we know that you've certainly obviously got the pace to challenge up there, so I'm sure he'll be listening to this, and perhaps a little bit of sweat perhaps on his forehead, but I'm sure he'll get back to us on that one as to how he feels about that. So as you say, rightfully focusing on this season first. It's a tight one at the moment. It does have a long way to go yet. And how do you feel about how it's gone so far for yourself? Obviously, you've got the championship lead. Last weekend wasn't so great, but obviously a strong first few weekends for yourself. How do you feel? Are you happy with it? Do you feel like there's a lot of room for improvement? And how confident are you going forward?
Oh, the first few rounds of the season have been an absolute up and down roller coaster for us at Ferrari at the moment. Like, we've had, of course, we had the dominant full house weekend in Australia where we just absolutely outperformed everyone, and if it wasn't for Alex trying to play with my emotions and take my fastest lap, there would have been an easy one stop there for Australia. And then going into China and Bahrain, like, we just had the qualifying in China wasn't good enough to help us, and then the rain in China as well ruined our race, pitting too early for the intermediates. But we were just lucky that Kart had internet connection problems going towards the end of the race.
Yeah,
but then by China he had it fixed, and China was, and Bahrain was just a mind struggling. We got held behind a lap car for a good 2.5 laps, and lost quite a lot of front wing, getting stuck behind him. And that just absolutely ruined our strategy, because we definitely had the pace to challenge Kart for the win. Like, we were pretty much dead even in qualifying, and in that first stint, like, both Saubers and myself were right up the front, like within good maybe 2-3 seconds of each other. But then Russia was just a shit show from the start. Like, we had power issues in qualifying when the car just didn't want to go anywhere. And after the wheel connection problems as well that we had before, the power problems, like that just completely unsettled us for the race. And starting at the back, we got caught up in some of the incidences in the first few corners, and that just completely put us out of the race. And then me trying to push myself to try and get back up to where I know we can be, we just made too many errors in the wet conditions, and we just decided just to pull the car out early just to save the engine components, because there's no point running around at the back when you know you should be up the front.
Yeah, fair enough. It was certainly a frustrating weekend for yourself, and I think it was a bit of a chaotic weekend on the whole, so I think a few other drivers will probably share your feelings about that one. So you mentioned a few other drivers there. Just to finish off with, who would you say are going to be your closest rivals over the course of this season? You've had a few good races already, a few battles as you've mentioned. Over the course of this season, who do you think is going to challenge you the most to take that title away from you?
Challenge me the most, I reckon. Like a good shout outs to the two Sauber drivers, Kart and Betts. Like, I reckon they'll be right up there fighting.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
I reckon the one that'll get me mentally the most will probably have to be my good mate Alex, or better known as Pure Axel 2121. Like, I've raced with him for about 5 or 6 years now, and like his consistency is just up there with the best. He rarely puts a foot wrong. He's always up there, and even when he had his torn ligament at the start of the season, he was still able to get good results out of himself and out of the car. So now that he's slowly getting back to full strength, it'll be really interesting to see that mental mind game that me and him have been playing on each other for so many years. It'll be really interesting to see how that mind game goes, and trying to get that mind game over him will be our number one priority. So try and get that title back for us.
Yeah, it sounds fair enough. I think we've all been able to see from these first few races that you obviously both are pretty closely matched and both have the pace to obviously be challenging for the title. So it looks to be a good season going forwards. And thank you for joining me today.
No problem, mate. Thanks for having me.
That's all right. So that brings to a close the second Guy's Moment of Seriousness. I've been Guy Tasker. I've been joined by Mackenzie Stewart, and I hope to catch you all again next week.
Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. We're here for the Monaco Grand Prix for Mackenzie Stewart's Preferred Racing Line, episode 1 today here for the Monaco Grand Prix. And today we're looking at the section from the Nouvelle Chicane all the way to Rascasse and the final turn, as this is the most difficult part of the track to nail. So as we join our lap here, coming out of Portier, coming through the tunnel, reaching speeds of around 270, 280 kilometers an hour in 8th gear. You want to brake just after the 100 meter board and avoid that inside wall there, as if you do turn into wheel, you can collect it with your left rear wheel, and then making sure you don't cut the second part. And then on the exit you want to do the same, avoid that wall. Then coming up to Tibet, now one of the more faster corners on the track, avoid the orange wall. Turning in at the 50 meter board, avoid that inside wall again. And then on the exit, you would just want to make sure you don't make contact, because in the race you can ruin your race by collecting that wall. But now at the swimming pool section, one of the toughest corners to get right, because if you got to nail it perfectly through this first part and then the second part, make sure you don't hit that wall on the exit of the swimming pool chicane. Then Rascasse as well, a tight 2-part right-hander, braking just before the shadow, and then making sure you don't hit that inside wall, because it's the same with the Nouvelle Chicane. If you hit it, you do spin around with that right rear wheel. But in the final corner now, you want to avoid the inside wall, because it's just a track of survival. And there you go, ladies. There is your preferred line for the Monaco Grand Prix.
Welcome to Monaco, one of the most recognizable tracks on the F1 calendar. We're going to start Brett's hot lap here. Brett's hot lap, keyword there. He is going to cross the finish line right here, and he just started his lap right into the first corner. A little bit cheeky there as he comes through there in 4th gear. Up the long hill, you just see how tight these F1 cars are on the track in Monaco. The 2017 cars are really wide. He brings it through there. Be careful not to hit that left bump right there. Just missed that. As he comes into here, he brakes a little bit late. Takes it just a bit wide, just clipping the wall there. It's so hard to get each corner right here. Brings it down in the 1st gear, and he just hits the curb here, but you actually want to get your tire just a little bit farther up. It helps bring your car around, and that way you don't have to slow down as much through the corner. He slows down just a little bit there. Probably takes a few tenths off his time. Comes through the right-hander here into the tunnel. He comes into the tunnel. He's up in the 7th gear. He's coming in the Nouvelle chicane right here, all the way down to the 3rd. You really want to attack this corner. Just attacks that corner, but not quite. He could have just attacked it a little bit more. He brings it up in the 6th gear. He's actually going to clip the wall here, and it actually makes him clip the wall pretty heavily on the other side. It makes him lose a lot of time here. And he comes through here, but actually he gains the time here. A little bit of a corner cut, which is a pretty big corner cut, so we don't want to be doing that. So actually what you want to do is you want to take your left front tire and hit the right hand curb. Just kiss it as you bring it through that corner. But instead he has a little bit of a cheeky corner cut there, and he's going to come in here, and he just turns in just a bit early here. As you can see, he was pretty close to that first little turn in the fence, and he just had to slow down a little bit here, and he just compromises his run through a little bit, and he could have got a little bit more speed coming down the straight, which would have made him go a little bit faster. But that's the Monaco lap, and right back to you, Brett.
Welcome back to the weekly pit lane report following the Spanish Grand Prix. My name is Axel Eriksson, and I will be presenting this week's news for you. Starting off with F1, we saw an eventful race full of incidents and controversy. In the end, one driver managed to stay out of trouble and get his first win of the season. That was Novak. The Mercedes driver won comfortably ahead of Rabbit Donkey 96 and was unmatched for the whole race. With a good result in Spain, it brings him up to 4th place in the standings, still 15 points behind the leader, Narashi Uzumaki. Mercedes must be really happy with the weekend. They got their first win of the season, and their second driver also managed to get some decent points. They are still 31 points behind Toro Rosso in the Constructors, but with the good result last weekend, they can still win the title. Another team who's doing well is Ferrari. Narashi Uzumaki is 2 points ahead of Rabbit Donkey 96 in the Drivers' Championship, and they seem to be comfortable with the current situation. Narashi Uzumaki says the team is very optimistic now that things are going in the right direction. He blames the poor performance in Spain on the strategy. The mediums were not the right tire to start with, he said. Even though things are looking good for one of the drivers, Ferrari is still struggling to find a good second drivers. 2 drivers have left the team lately, but they believe that the new driver, Bruno Gallavica, is the right man for a job as the second driver. Narashi Uzumaki says the team is currently focusing on giving himself a good enough car to win the championship with. And once the second driver settles at his new job, they will be focusing on the constructors as well. Narashi Uzumaki then goes on to say that the team won't be expecting anything special in Monaco, that they will instead be focusing on the next race in Canada, where Ferrari's expectations are high. Moving over to GP2, Wallars 1313 won the race. It looked like Stuart McKenzie 2 would extend his championship lead after he secured pole and held on to P1 during the first part of the race. But after his 2-stop strategy failed and he got a time penalty for taking out another driver, he could only finish 4th. Wallars 1313 said his win was down to the strategy, but he claimed that he could challenge for the race win regardless of which strategy the others were doing. He said that there were a lot of things that could have gone differently, thus preventing him from getting the race win, but everything went his way and therefore he got a deserved win. As for the championship, he says the following: "I'm disappointed with the current situation. I was hoping to be in a title fight, but unfortunately that's not the case. I only have myself to blame for the current situation, but if I perform better and score more points, I can definitely win the championship." We will finish this pit lane report off with GP3, where Goings 28 dominated and won his first race of the season. according to the man himself, he was lucky to finish the race. His tires were on the verge of exploding, and if there had been one more lap in the race, he probably wouldn't have finished according to himself. He promised himself that he would win in Spain, not because he has a big head, but because this is a track that suits him. It is a track which pushes the drivers to the limits, and therefore he really wanted to take advantage of the harshness of the track. He is confident about his chances to win the driver's title. He claims that as long as he scores podiums consistently, he will be in the reach for the title. However, he says he is okay with settling for a top 5 placement in the standings, considering this is his first season of the TLC, but ideally he will finish at the top. So what are we going to see after the next race in Monaco? Stay tuned to find out.